Welcome to the Skool exclusive Money Models training, where I'll show you how to use the money model mechanisms in the book and utilize them using the Skool platform. And in the spirit of Skool, I'm going to try to keep this short, tight, and in one video. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk through each of the 15 mechanisms inside of the book and then basically explain how you would do this using the tech. Now, let's start with the attraction offers. Now, win your money back is an offer where I would recommend doing this inside of a free community where you have a single purchase. All right, and so what would happen is you would have a purchase of one-time upsell, and then you'd have a separate delivery that is a subscription through the multiple tiers. And so the way this would work is that someone would join your free community, you would then upsell them via phone call or via DM to then take the one-click upsell. Now that one-click upsell inside of the community might include a series of calls, a series of services that they get access to, one-off work, whatever it is, courses, materials, downloads, whatever you bucket inside of there for that one-time price. Now the key is that if they hit certain requirements, which you can either have via outcomes or you can have via actions that they take. So it might be achieving a fire emoji in terms of getting 30 days of activity or posting a certain amount of times or getting to a certain level. There's lots of different ways you can skin this. Or it could just be like leaving reviews on your page. Whatever actions you require them to take, if they get them, then you could send them the link or qualify them for a different tier of subscription that you would credit that X dollars from your one-time purchase towards the subscription. So the way this would look is that you'd have two tiers, one for people who win their money back and one for people who don't. And so once they did the required actions or achieved the required result, you'd say, hey, you're going to go to subscription tier 1 or subscription tier 2. Now it might be for the same service, but it would have a different price because then it would translate that into store credit that they would get to apply to, 6 months or a year, whatever you choose. So that is how you would use a win your money back play as an attraction offer to get people into your world and then ultimately spend more money and get engaged in your services. Now, let's do number 2, giveaways. So giveaways you can do one of two ways. So one is you can do a giveaway off of a one-time purchase, or you can do giveaways off of a subscription. Either of them work. So if you did it off a one-time purchase, let's say you have your flagship one-off service that you offer. Let's say it's $1,000. And so you would run your promotion inside of a community, you would do a grand drawing, and then once you have your winner, you would give that person that thing. But then you would reach out to everyone else and then offer that thing at a discount, which you could still process through Skool as a secondary one-off thing in terms of your purchases. That's how you would do a single purchase giveaway. Now, if you want to do a giveaway that rolls into a subscription, you could give away a tier of subscription for a year or for an extended period of time. You do the same giveaway process, and then everyone else for a very distinct period of time would gain access to that same subscription, maybe at a discount, or you can just have a separate line item that still has the same features and components inside of it that you would offer for a discount for a truncated window. And so if either of those situations, you give one person the free thing, you contact everyone else, and you give them your promotional offer that you could still monetize entirely through Skool. And because of the nature of the community, I strongly recommend doubling up on your grand prize and giving people, if your friend wins, you win too, so you get way more people into your community. Now the decoy offer, when done the way I like to do it, I would have 2 tiers of subscription, which typically will be you have your month-to-month and you have your annual. But what's very interesting about how Skool is structured is that with annual, you can include all sorts of other things. And so your annual fee doesn't need to be 10 or 12 times what your monthly fee is. Your annual can include whatever else you want inside of it. And so what you can do is attract people with a lower priced subscription, but then say, and this is fundamentally what an upsell is, right? You probably want these other things too, which come with the annual price. And so that will accelerate cash flow in the business forward, and they get these additional features that come with it. And so for more details on that, watch the full Money Models training, and obviously read the chapter in the book. But in terms of how you do it on Skool, the easiest mechanism would be monthly versus annual, and then put a bunch of stuff in the annual that you don't have in the monthly to encourage more people to take that offer, including whatever you'd give people in the monthly thing, almost just as a bonus for how much more is inside the annual. The fourth attraction offer is buy X, get Y free. The simplest way to implement this in Skool is also through the dynamic of monthly versus annual payments, but the way we do it is different than the decoy offer. With the monthly versus annual, you just say, okay, well, I'll give you 6 months free if you buy annual versus the month-to-month price. So let's say it's $100 a month. You could say it's $600 per year if you bill annually with additional bonuses, or it's $100 a month. So the difference here is that with the decoy offer, we would have the decoy is actually the low offer in this one because we would encourage the high one. With the buy X get Y free, the decoy, said differently, is the month-to-month offer, whereas what we're really trying to do is drive people towards buying more time. It's a quantity multiplier. And so that's a different way of doing the attraction offer, but it makes it very compelling if you say buy 6 get 6, buy 9 get 3. And so you're selling terms of access and you're front loading the cash flow, which can make acquisition significantly easier for you from an advertising perspective. And also if you ever had salespeople paying sales commissions, it makes it easier because you pull that cash forward. Attraction mechanism number 5, pay less now versus pay more later. So the way that I would implement this within Skool is if someone comes into the community, whether it's free or paid, I would say, hey, if you buy this now, and so the key point about this is an urgency tactic. All right, is I'd say, hey, I've got this paid thing, which is an extra $1,000, $2,000, that I will give you private access to if you buy on this timeline. If you don't buy on this timeline, then you're no longer going to get this thing. And so effectively, if they don't buy today, then they're going to have to pay for that $1,000 or $2,000 thing later, pay more, which gives the name pay less now or pay more later. That's the idea. Now, the second section of 4 mechanisms is going to be the upsells. So the first is the classic upsell. The classic upsell is you want to give them the next natural thing. The entire platform is already built for this in two specific ways. One is you can just continue to upsell a one-time purchase after one-time purchase built within your classroom area where people can just buy to get access to stuff. And you just want to make sure that within every upsell, you tell them what they should buy next. Seems logical, but you'd be amazed people don't do it. And the clear point is that we want to solve one problem that then opens up another problem, which we then solve through the upsell. To the same degree, we want the same concept structured within our continuity. So if you have a $100 a month continuity and then a $500 a month continuity, we want the $500 a month continuity because of the multiple subscription tiers. We want the 100, once they solve that first problem, they're then naturally qualified to take the next subscription offer, which you want to make clear, obvious, and easy for them and repeat multiple times throughout their customer journey. So upsell mechanism number 2 is the menu upsell. So I'll show you 2 different ways you can do this. So number 1 is that you want to have many different items that are for sale inside of your community classroom area. So one-click purchases. To the same degree, you also want to have many subscriptions available. I'll break down each. So you want to have multiple higher ticket things that you may not really intend to sell to many people, but just merely having them there allows you to unsell several of them when you're talking to a prospect or messaging with them, so that they then want to buy the other one that might be smaller priced or just priced the same way, but you'll gain trust by not selling people everything you have and only selling the thing that makes most sense for them now. The same thing applies on the subscription level. You might have a $5,000 a month thing and a $2,000 a month thing and another $2,000 a month thing. All you have to do is just tell them what they don't qualify for that you probably already have thought through. You just make sure that you express that to them prior to making your prescription. And when you do that, it'll increase the likelihood that they take that offer. Upsell mechanism number 3, the anchor upsell. So this one can be done all over the place in Skool and it's monster. So you have a few different places that you can put multiple prices so that you can actually have things that are compared against, right? So one is the one-time purchases that happen inside the community. The other is the multiple subscription tiers, which also happen there. There's also the annual versus monthly. So you have kind of 3 different places that you can use an anchor upsell. And so the key way of making anchor upsells very compelling is that you want the core offer to not be the anchor. You want the core offer to be the thing that's just like 10% different than the anchor, but 1/10 the price. And so that's the magic of how this works, all right? So some people will always just buy the most expensive thing. We want to use the smallest differentiator between the most expensive thing and the thing that we want everyone to buy, but we want the price discrepancy to be massive. And so what happens is that makes the core offer appear significantly more valuable because you're like, well, I don't really care about that tiny thing, and this seems like a smoking deal. Now, some people will want that thing, and in that case, congratulations, you got a whale. For everybody else, they'll be very happy and more likely to buy your core offer. Again, you can apply this to the monthly versus annual, the one-time payments versus another one-time payment, or the multiple subscription tiers. Upsell mechanism number 4, the rollover upsell. This is one of my most used upsell mechanisms. I strongly recommend using it wherever you can. this only happens after someone has bought something from you. And so if someone buys a one-time purchase, you can give them a discount or change the price for a limited time on another thing that they would buy next. So let's say that you have a $1,500 item and a $500 item. So if they bought the $500 first, what we'd say is, hey, if you buy via DM or via call or via webinar or whatever it is, for that moment, you could temporarily decrease the price by $500 only for those buyers and allow them to credit their initial purchase forward. It triggers sunk cost bias in buyers, and so they want to get credit for what they just bought. And so effectively, you make the first thing free if they buy the next thing. And so it's a very compelling offer, but it really doesn't change much for you. Obviously, you're going to lose the $500 on that sale, so I wouldn't use it all the time unless that's going to be your primary strategy for sending people from thing one to thing two. Now, if you want to use the rollover into continuity, what you would do is you would take that initial offer, let's say it's that one-time purchase of $500, and let's use $600 for simple math. So let's say it was $600, and we would take $50 off a month for 12 months, and so you just adjust your subscription down by $50 a month for that period. So you'd say, hey, we're going to apply your one-time purchase over to your subscription, and we're going to roll it in. Now, you could hypothetically do the same concept if someone is at $100 a month and your upsell is $500 a month. You say, hey, you've already paid $100 a month for a while. I'm going to credit that towards it, and now you're only going to pay $400 a month. Both of those would work, and it gives you kind of implied urgency because in that moment you can lower the price, they can make the purchase, and then you can bump it back up. So payment plan downsells on Skool happen differently than you might expect. Now, because of processing issues and people being weird, the way that we would facilitate a payment plan would be almost like a cohort. So I'll explain what I mean. So let's say that you have somebody who says, I can pay for 3 months, $1,000 a month for XYZ, or $100 a month. You can change whatever number you want. And so you'd say, okay, I'm going to have month 1, month 2, and month 3 as one purchase offers inside of my classroom. And so what someone would do is that they would buy number 1, and then in order to get to the second month, they'd have to buy number 2, and then to get to the third month, they buy number 3. Now, some of you might be like, well, that increases friction. The thing is that in my experience, if someone doesn't want to buy, they're going to cancel anyways. And so adding this tiny little step will decrease friction on the front end for the sale. And as long as you're doing a good job, people will make that second and third purchase. Same happens from a cohort perspective. If you want to move people from cohort 1 to cohort 2, cohort 3, all of those can get facilitated through the single purchase options. You just tie it to time period. The second downsell mechanism is going to be trials. Now, if you want to make it a free trial with penalty, one of the ways that you can do this is that you basically have them take specific actions, and if they take those actions, the continuity that you can then offer them will be less than what they subscribe to. So let me explain. So let's say someone signs up for a free trial, 7-day trial into a $100 a month subscription. Okay. If they do the required actions over that period of time, you can send them the link for a temporary period where they would discount and then immediately purchase the $49 per month. And so that would incentivize them to follow through and then self-activate because they'll get a discount associated with it. And so that's a way that you can tie their activation metrics with a strong incentive and then ultimately get people who are far more engaged and stay longer. The third downsell mechanism, the subscription tiers completely handles, which is the feature downsells. And so with feature downsells, you can mix and match one-time offers and subscription tiers based on the features that you choose to include. And so you can very easily have 3 tiers of subscriptions, 3 tiers of one-time purchases, and each of them, let's say you have 3 things, 2 things, 2 things, 1 thing, and then you can downsell those things. But the magic of using the feature downsell method that I talk about is how much you change the price versus what you take away. The relationship between those things is where the magic happens. And so for me, typically, I want to take away something very valuable and only decrease the price a little bit for my first one, because that encourages people to take my most expensive offer. Now, if someone truly can't afford it, the next few that I take a disproportionate amount of price and a small amount of value because now I want to get them to buy something. And so when you're playing with those 3 or 4 levels that you want to include inside of your purchases, structuring the value versus the price is where the magic happens, and then you could structure it in the way that I outline in the training. Continuity bonus offer number 1. So this one's awesome. Skool makes this really chef's kiss. So what you can do is include on the copy of your about page that if they buy within a window or maybe via DM or off of webinar or off of some video they make or a post, that when they get inside of the community, you can give them a one-time offer thing that has a real value of, let's say, $1,000 that you normally do charge for. If they make the purchase within that window, you can give them that thing for free up front. And so that is bonus continuity, and it crushes. It does exceptionally well. And I think there's something magical about somebody having the option to potentially just buy one thing versus getting that thing that otherwise does have a price tag for free by joining, right? And so not just saying, oh, all this stuff comes from my group, that's kind of like the 101 version. The 201 version is, I really do charge for this thing really is valuable, and when you join, I will unlock this thing only for you for a period of time so that you know that it's legit. So the second continuity mechanism is continuity discount offers. Now within Skool, there's two ways that we can use it, and over time maybe we'll add more. The first is obviously a free trial as a version of this, but I want to share the second one, which I think may be valuable for a lot of you, which is if someone's going to stay for a year, you can say, hey, you could do the annual pay, obviously, which is kind of a buy X, get Y, or if you choose to go monthly, let's say that you complete 9 payments. So if let's say you had a buy 6, get 6 as an offer on the front end, you say, hey, you can go monthly. Now, after your 9th month, I'll give you 3 months free. And so that allows you to advertise 3 months free or 6 months free as an option for someone. But the key is that after 9 months, you'd say, hey, you can turn off your billing. I will still let you back into the group for this period of time. And then that allows them to have 3 months of access on the back end after they've successfully completed 9 payments. And so the key terms to making that work with any kind of continuity is that they have to pay on time, they have to have no churn issues, and they have to pay in full the retail price for that period of time. And so that encourages stick and encourages engagement, and it puts the carrot at the end of the relationship rather than necessarily at the beginning. So you can make a longer period of time they give away for free to incentivize, to pull people through the paid period to get to the carrot. Now, if you want to be a smart cookie about it, you can always keep pulling out more and more time and adding it on the end if they could just continue to double down. So to do a waive fee offer, you would have a free community. Now inside that community, you would have 3 options. So number 1 would be a single purchase option. And number 2, you'd have a high monthly billing and then a lower monthly billing. Now, if someone gets in the free community and says, hey, I want your continuity, then you'd say, hey, you have to buy the onboarding package, which is a one-time purchase, which is very expensive. And then you'll also have to enroll into the more expensive month-to-month continuity. Now, if you want to commit to a longer period of time, I will give you the waive fee offer, which is that expensive one-time purchase. I'll give you your onboarding, I'll give you your setup, I'll give you your intake calls, whatever it is for your services. And then you can subscribe to the lower monthly payment, but by doing so, you're committing to staying for this period of time. Now, like all businesses, and this has nothing to do with Skool, any commitment is only as good as the word of the person giving it to you. And so if you have a bunch of cheapskates or people who don't have a lot of money or are not very reliable for payment, or I'll be real, maybe you're not that good at providing value on a consistent basis, then this offer will not have nearly the effect. If you have a business where somebody has to stick with their word, has real assets, then this becomes significantly more powerful. This mechanism is far more useful in businesses where it takes time for someone to get results and we have a lot of front-loaded work. And so fundamentally you're saying, if you want me to take the risk, then you've got to pay up front. And if you're going to take some of the risk by committing to a longer period of time, I'll match your risk by lowering the rate, but knowing that you're going to overall be worth more to me. And I cover more about the price differences and how to price them inside of the full money models training. But this is fundamentally how you can use each of the money models in the book as a Skool community host on the platform. If you want more details about the Money Models book and in depth on how the mechanics of all of these work, there's I think it's 8 hours, a very long training that I made explaining in depth how each of these mechanisms inside of the book work and how you can apply them to any business. And we put them all inside of Skool as well to just make it easy and convenient for you. Enjoy.